Last week, I booked a hotel to go to Guayaquil, my home country. And then 3 seconds after I hit confirm, I had a confirmation email. I'm up to the hotel, cancellation policy, and check-in instructions, and a chat button in case I needed anything. 3 seconds. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time freight forwarding clients got that kind of experience after requesting a quote? Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. A $47 a night hotel app is outperforming most freight forwarders on customer service. And that, my friend, is costing you clients. So in this video, I'm gonna break down 5 specific customer service lessons freight forwarders need to steal from companies like Booking.com before your competitors do. And then I'll show you exactly how to implement each one to transform your client relationships with more business and less headache. Point number 1, speed kills, and slow responses are costing your clients. Booking.com confirms your reservation in under 5 seconds. Your average freight forwarder takes about 24 to 72 hours to respond a quote request, or they never responded at all. Now, this is what you gotta understand. Speed signals competence. When you respond fast, the shipper, the agent, or your client thinks, if they're this fast on quotes, imagine how fast they will be when I got a problem with my shipment. The first forward respond wins 60 to 70% of the time. Crazy. Not the cheapest, not the one with the best rate, but the fastest. And this has happened to me over the course of 15 years that I've been in freight. I found out time after time after time, the fast you send out the quote, even if you don't send the quote like the formal quote, but the fast you get back to them saying, hey Patricia, I got your email and I'm working on your request, automatically it gives them the thought of, okay, these guys are already working on my quote, so I'm gonna wait. Even if I receive the quote before him, I'm gonna wait because he's working on it. But the thing is that most freight forwarders don't even respond to that first email fast. They wait 1 or 2 days only to say, hey, we're working on a quote. Think how crazy that is. Now, here's how you can do it in practice. And now let's take a look at how Booking.com does it. They send the booking confirmation under 3 seconds, the email confirmation immediately, and then the customer service is available 24/7 in chat. And if you want modifications of your reservation, that's instant. Obviously, you can have that because you got third-party companies you have to quote with in order for you to send out the quote, the formal quote. But this is what you can do now that you're not doing, so listen up. So quote request acknowledgement. That's just saying, hey, I'm working on it. Within an hour, I would say 1 to 10 minutes, it's more than enough to tell your potential client, I'm working on it. Final detailed quote within 24 hours. I think it's a manageable number. Now, shipment booking confirmation, if they say, I accept your shipment, within 2 hours, you have to give them the confirmation. Obviously, I know that's tough sometimes because sometimes you quote spot rates, but sometimes it's under a contract and you have to go back and forth with the shipping line and that can take some more time. But the more you communicate that with your client, the better it will be, because if not, they will just think you're just slow. And we don't want that. Problem response, that has to be immediate, within an hour, business hours. That's maybe a easier modification that you all can do, but this is like the top level thing that you should aim for if you want to be the freight forwarder that actually survives over the next decade. So auto acknowledgement setup. You gotta have, with AI, with the workflow, automatic responses. When you do receive a quote, an instant message sends out saying, hey, I'm working on it. It takes seconds, not minutes nor hours. Preliminary quote, I know there's a lot of tools like Cargo5 or Cargo One or Windsor AI that they can help you with that. Obviously, you need a human in the loop, but the more that you spend on software, the better it will be, or the faster that you will respond to your quotes. So you gotta have something set up or implemented already if you haven't done so. Response time tracking, you have to monitor and measure your team's response times. It can take days for your team to send an update or to send a reply when the problem happens. That just can't happen. And then escalation procedures, clear protocols when someone can respond quickly, or an email saying, hey, I'm not in the office today, but John or Jesus, for example, is gonna take over with this problem within the next 2 hours or so. Picture this. Imagine you're a supply chain manager with an urgent shipment. You send a pull request to 5 freight forwarders at like 2 p.m. And then by 5 p.m., one has sent already a detailed response with next steps, and 3 have sent basic acknowledgement of, hey, I received your email and we're working on it. And then the other one just hasn't responded at all. How cute, right? How cute that happens. Which company feels most competent and reliable for your shipment? Speed creates this first impression that determines everything. That's why I'm heavy on this with my team, always telling them, hey, you need to be fast on your first impression, because if they send you an email for the first time and you wait hours or days, you might as well just disappear, my friend. You might as well just close your business, because that first impression will last forever. Point number 2, don't make them chase you. Have proactive communication. What do I mean by that? When you book through booking.com, you get updates before you even think to ask. You get confirmation, you get the reminder 3 days before, you have the checking instructions the morning off, and they're always one step ahead of you. Always. Why this matters? Because every time a client has to chase you for the information that you're supposed to send, trust goes from here to here. And when trust drops, you start shopping around for alternatives. That's just the reality of it. Proactive communication builds confidence and positions you as a professional partner and not just as a service provider. Now, here's how proactive communication can look like for your business. For example, the quote stage. You have immediate acknowledgement, you have a preliminary quote, the final quote, booking confirmation. That's the first phase. Then the pre-shipment. You got the documentation checklist and the pickup scheduling, and then the carrier assignment. Have to have that available for the client. In transit, you got the departure confirmation, you got the customs clearance updates, the arrival notifications. And then on the delivery phase, you have the delivery confirmation, the POD documentation, and then the invoice processing. And then the post-delivery, you have a service feedback request, asking them how the shipment went, how the service, if they think it went, and then also the next shipment planning. You never want to leave a rope hanging around. You always have to close the loop asking when the next order is going to be. And this is how it can get even better. Now you have automated triggers, set up system alerts, so when the shipment hit any milestone, they get an automated update. You also have template messages that your team can just have it preset on Outlook for updates for each step of the shipment. Then you have the exceptions report when immediate alerts are triggered when something goes wrong. And then you have the customer preferences where you let the clients choose the communication frequency. Some clients want twice a day updates, some clients just don't care at all, and they're good if you just update them every 3, 4, or on a weekly basis. Now the communication template, so you have to have a template that says, hey, your shipment has been assigned to the vessel name and the parting date, or that good stuff. Then you also need to have the customs clearance completed. Hey, your cargo is transferred to the final destination, and with delivery happens, hey, delivery is scheduled for this day and this time, and then with tracking number, you can click on this and see it in real time. Now picture this. Think about the difference between a doctor who calls you with the results with one who makes you call them repeatedly to get information. Which one you want to treat you, right? The proactive doctor feels more professional and caring. And your clients should never have to wonder what's happening with their shipment. That should never happen. You should be the one telling them before they ask. Simple as that. Point number 3, let them see everything. You need to have transparency. For example, booking.com. You can see everything. You can see the price breakdown, the cancellation policy, the room photos, the real guest reviews, the check-in time, the distance from the airport, the zero guessing. You know everything. They're not hiding anything from you. Now, why is this important? Because transparency isn't just nice, it's a competitive weapon. The forwarder who gives a detailed, clear, and visual quote wins, because you're not just selling a rate, you're selling confidence. Hidden costs and surprise charges that just destroy trust and create customer churn, which simply means they won't buy your service ever again. So here's what transparency can look like in your freight forwarding company. For example, booking.com, they have the breakdown, the room, the taxes, the fees. They have the cancellation policy of how much it's going to cost you if you cancel before a specific day. You have the reviews, you know what people are saying about the hotel, you know the amenities, you know the things that you can do nearby, like you know everything, right? How you can give that level of transparency to your clients, it's important. the origin charges, pickup documentation, the export's clearance, then the main ocean freight, where obviously you have the ocean air freight, fuel surcharges, and security fees sometimes are not including into the freight charge per se. Then the import clearance charges, sometimes you have to quote the clearance, the delivery, the storage, if they apply it. The timeline, you have to be transparent on the estimated time of arrival. And that includes the things that might happen and that transit time can even be extended in some cases. Very important, the inclusions and the exclusions, what's covered and what might be extra in some cases. So this is an example of a cost breakdown for your quote document. I mean, you guys already are probably doing it, but I'm just showing you guys how we do it as well. So you have your pickup and delivery report, that's like $150. Then you have your extra documentation fee, which is about $75, and the port handling, which is something that you don't really charge. The port charges $125. Then you have the freight, which is $1,800, and the surcharges $200, the security fee $25, and then destination charges. In this case, cargo is going to Guayaquil. Then the import clearance charges are about $200, and the port charges are about another extra $100, and delivery to the door, it's about $175. Obviously, there's some fees that I'm not including here. This is just an example. Don't roast me. This is not a real quote. There's some things obviously that are excluded for the sake of an example. Okay, now the total being $2,850. Now you have to say the transit time is between 12 to 15 days. Then the delivery window to the final leg, it's about 18 to 25 days. It's included the starting maritime insurance and the basic tracking. What is not included, the duties, the taxes, the special handling, storage beyond 5 days, and then there's potential additional quotes of fuel surcharges adjustment, port congestion fees, custom examination charges that is like very often here in the States. And why is this so important? Imagine you're buying a car. The dealer A shows the price is $35,000, but then the dealer B shows that the base price is $30,000 and the options are $3,000, the tax $1,500, documentation $500, with a banging total of $35,000. Now, which dealer feels more trustworthy? Although in real life, they're not. Transparency eliminates surprises and builds confidence in your professionalism. That's the key. Point number 4. The shipment doesn't end at the delivery. You gotta follow up. For example, Booking.com emails you after checkout asking how your stay was, requesting a rating, and asking if you would book again. Most forwarders deliver the cargo, they give the service, but then disappear until the next request happen, if they do happen. Now, why this matters? A simple post-delivery follow-up does 3 things. It shows that you care, it catches problems before they become complaints, and it opens the door for the next shipment. As simple as that. That one message can be the difference between a one-time transaction and a long-term client. Big stuff. None of you guys are doing it. So here's a post-delivery follow-up system that you can use for your forwarder. For example, Booking.com, they do these specifically and exactly. Immediately after your stay, they ask you, hey, how was your stay on email? Then they ask you for a request on a simple and easy 1 to 5 star rating system. And then future booking incentives, and then loyalty program enrollment. So a lot of things, they're trying to make sure that you book with them again. Now, how can you do that for your forwarding business? So after the shipment is completed, after 24 to 48 hours, you send a message asking how was your shipment experience. A simple feedback of 1 to 5 star rating with optional comments if they do happen. A problem resolution, immediate response to any issues, for example. And very important, future planning. When do you think your next shipment is gonna be? And also something that probably few of you guys or none of you guys are doing, it's a referral program system where you ask if they know anyone who ships to destination they also ship that you think they can benefit from your service. So the actual email version that you can use, you can say, hey, John, your shipment from Miami to Guayaquil was delivered yesterday. Mind telling us how was your experience with our service? And then you put up the 1 to 5 stars and say, click here to rate or something like that. If anything didn't meet your expectations, please let me know immediately so I can make it right. Then you say, when are you planning your next shipment? Because we would love to make it even smoother. And as simple as that, you just say best regards and put your name on it. Also, you can do this on WhatsApp because I know you guys use WhatsApp a lot. And you can say, hey, John, shipment likely was delivered yesterday. How did everything go? Any issues that I should know about? Hey, when's your next shipment? And then you put a happy face emoji because you guys like to use emojis. Now, think about a difference between, for example, a restaurant that serves you a meal, never checks back, versus the one where the manager stops by and asks how everything was. The follow-up creates a relationship instead of just one-time transactions. And relationships, my friend, generates repeated business. Now, final point number 5, make it easy for them to come back. The retention system. Now, Booking.com doesn't just hope that you come back. They engineer it. How? With a genius loyalty program, personal recommendations, and saved preference. Also, your recent search, they make rebooking frictionless. Why is this important? Because the easiest revenue is from clients that have already bought from you, your service that already shipped with you. But most forwarders have zero systems for staying on top of mind between shipments. Your client should never have to wonder, who did I use last time that I had a shipment from Miami, for example? You should be the default forwarder, not just an option. So like I was saying, Booking.com has this genius loyalty program with levels and benefits. They also have personalized recommendations based on your search history. They have safe payment methods and preferences. They make it easier for you to rebook. They have email campaigns with special offers or recently viewed and recommended places or stays for you. How you can replicate that for your freight business. First, with the customer relationships management, you have a detailed client profile with shipping history, the preferred carriers, the routes, and the service levels. You have the key contacts and the communication preferences. You also have important dates like the peak season or the product launches. Number 2, you have a systematic stay in touch program where you have monthly market update emails, for example, the first of every month, or quarterly business check-ins, or even LinkedIn engagement and content sharing with them. Also, holiday and milestone congratulations and things along those lines. Third, you have a proactive opportunity identification where you kept the same actionable framework and implementation strategies for them. You monitor every client, company news, and expansion to send an update email mentioning that. Also, you track seasonal shipment patterns for when they need to. And also, you identify new trade lane opportunities that they might get use of. And lastly, you get the suggested supply chain optimizations for a supply chain. 4, a loyalty and referral program, something that you guys are not doing and you should. For example, volume discounts, regular shipment, priority service for loyal customers, and referral bonuses and recognition if they do refer someone else to work with you. Exclusive access to capacity during peak season. That's something that people in China, they do, right? Because they don't give the same amount of attention or service to the shipper that's giving them 1,000 containers a month to the ones that are giving them 10 containers a month. Obviously, there's a variance there and they have to take care of the ones that are giving them the most volume, and you guys should do the same. So you can say things like, hey, I saw the news about your companies, about the expansion to Brazil. Congratulations on the expansion. Just want to mention that we have great rates and relationships for Sao Paulo if you kind of need any support. Or saying like, hey, peak season is approaching from Asia to Brazil. Want me to secure space allocation early for when you need to so you're not without space when the peak season starts? Now, imagine this. Think of retention like tending a garden. Booking.com, that's where you plant seeds and hope they grow. They water them regularly, they provide nutrients, and they harvest when they're ready. Your client relationships need the same systematic care to produce ongoing business instead of one-time transactions. Now, let me recap all the 5 lessons for freight forwarders that need to steal from Booking.com. First, you gotta respond fast. Speed is your biggest differentiator. Second, communicate proactively. Don't make them chase you. Provide the communication on time. 3, be transparent. Show them everything up front. 4, follow up after the delivery. The shipping does not end when you deliver it. 5, stay top of mind. Make it easy for them to come back. Now, none of this requires a $1 million tech stack. To be honest, it requires intention and just wanting to do it. It requires you to stop treating customer service as an afterthought and start treating it as your sales strategy. Simple as that, because in freight forwarding, the forwarder who makes the client feel taken care of, that's the one who keeps the business. But here's what most freight forwarders don't understand. Booking.com isn't successful just because they have the best hotels or the lowest prices. In fact, they don't own any of the hotels. They're successful because they've engineered an experience that make customers feel confident, informed, and valued throughout the entire process. Your client are the same people who use Booking.com, who use Amazon, who use Uber. Their expectations for speed, communication, and transparency are set by these companies, not by your competitors. When you deliver a Booking.com level of experience in freight forwarding, you don't just win customers. You create raving fans who become your best salespeople. And here's what I need you guys to understand. Your competitors are already starting to figure this out. That's just a fact. The freight forwarders who implement these systems will have a massive advantage, or the ones who stick with the old, answer the phone, and hope for the best approach. The bar for customer experience in freight forwarding is embarrassingly low right now. And that's actually great news, because it means that you don't need a massive budget to stand out. You just need to pay attention to what's already working outside of our industry and adapt it to freight forwarding. Simple as that. And lastly, if these videos show you how much opportunity exists to differentiate through customer experience, hit that subscribe button, because I share strategies every week for freight forwarders who want to build businesses the clients love working with, not just businesses who move freight. The customer experience revolution in freight forwarding is coming. Actually, it's happening. The question is, will you lead to it, or will you watch your competitors steal your clients with better service? Choice is yours. Catch you in the next one.